there's never been beef. Like, we've talked trash to each other in AAU. Like, that it's been that. So I think it's really just the fans, her fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans that are like, they ride for her. And I respect that respectfully, but sometimes it's very disrespectful. I think there's a lot of racism. After the season, and when I was in my press conference and I was talking about being sexualized, like, I guess people thought that was like, because I post pictures in my bathing suits. No, like.
If Angel Reese was older, I would have gotten on her about what she just said. Because I would have been like, how naive can you be? But she is young. She's only 22.
Angel Reese just dropped a bombshell on social media, accusing Caitlin Clark's fans of harassment. But here's the twist. Fans are now calling her out for lying. This controversy has escalated beyond just two players and is shaking up the entire WNBA.
Caitlin Clark is box office. She is a star. And Angel Reese is to be completely believed that there's no hate. They both get along. They're cool with each other. They're high-end competitors, etc., etc. But you've known they were coming for you when you were waving your hands in your face to mock Caitlin Clark when you were beating her for the national championship. And you also are old enough to know that in this society, whether they want to admit it or not, they don't like seeing somebody black coming at somebody white who is a beloved star of theirs. That's not the case with all. It's not the case with most. But those who screech the loudest get the most attention sometimes.
So what's the deal? Reese is claiming that Clark's fans are harassing her, even going as far as creating fake AI images, but something doesn't add up, and fans are all over it. They're saying Reese's story doesn't match up with what they're seeing. You knew the backlash was coming.
You knew they were going to come for you. You had to know that. Now, to the degree that they're doing so, I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from.
You might be thinking this is just another basketball drama, but trust me, it's way bigger than that. This could change everything we thought we knew about these two stars and their rivalry. Are you ready to uncover what's really going on? Because this rabbit hole goes deep, and what we find might just surprise you.
Angel Reese, the big superstar rebounder in the WNBA, launches her podcast by taking an immediate shot, in my view, at Caitlin
Remember
Clark.
when we thought this was just about two rivals on the court? Well, it turns out there's a whole other game being played off the court. Reese's accusations against Clark's fans seem straightforward at first, but now everyone's asking, does her own social media tell a different story? The answer might just change how we see both players.
When it's behind your name, that's when a lot of people are like, oh, they think, oh, I don't like her because her fans are saying this. No, I don't believe in her heart that she has hatred towards me. And I'm sure she believes that I don't have hatred towards her, but I think her fan base has gone, I'm talking about like,
it's a lot.
It's a lot. Like,
we see it all the time.
I know y'all see it. Like, I literally saw something today that was like, it's crazy. And it goes down to knowing, like, again, we are human. Multiple occasions, people have made AI pictures of me, like, naked. Literally.
Really?
They have sent it to my family members. My family members are like, uncles are sending it to me like,
no.
Are you naked on Instagram?
Let's break this down. Reese claims she's being sexualized and harassed by Clark's fans, which sounds serious, right? But here's where things get complicated. Fans aren't just taking Reese's word for it. They're doing their own digging, and what they're finding is raising some eyebrows.
Unpack. Caitlin Clark fans are the reason people are making naked AI pictures of me. How do you get there? What does that have to do with Caitlin Clark? She puts herself out there, even on this podcast, stomach out, breasts barely hidden, legs front and center everywhere. She has sexualized herself.
You might be thinking, what could fans possibly find that would make them doubt Reese? Well, it's all about what Reese herself is posting on social media. Fans are looking at her photos and saying, hold up, how can you claim you're being sexualized when you're posting revealing photos yourself? It's got people scratching their heads and wondering what's really going on here.
And now, oh, I'm shocked, people are sexualizing me. And somehow she's connecting it to being a Caitlin Clark fan. I just don't see the connection. It's like everything bad that happens to me is somehow connected to Caitlin Clark.
This isn't just about a few Instagram posts, it's about trust. Right now, fans are questioning whether they can trust what Reese is saying. They're noticing the inconsistency between her claims and her actions. And for them, it's just not adding up.
Caitlin Clark, that's stupid, it's dishonest, she's just clout chasing, she's using Caitlin Clark, and then she goes, I don't think Caitlin Clark has hatred towards me. What has Caitlin Clark done to you?
Now, you might be thinking, okay, but maybe Reese just wants to post whatever she wants on her own social media. What's the big deal? And you'd have a point. But here's the thing. When you're a public figure making serious accusations, everything you do is under a microscope. Fans are frustrated because they feel like there's a double standard at play. Some are even suggesting that Reese might be using Clark's name to gain attention. That's a pretty big accusation and shows just how heated this whole situation has become. It's no longer just about basketball. It's about integrity, honesty, and the standards we hold our sports stars to.
Well, I don't even understand what would motivate that comment. Caitlin Clark hasn't done anything. She goes out and plays basketball. I've never seen her trash talk. I've never seen her taunt Angel Reese. There's nothing there. But she's pretending like there is something there. There's one person who is driving all this, and it's Angel Reese.
This controversy is sparking a much bigger conversation in the WNBA. Fans are demanding accountability from their stars. They want to know that when a player speaks out, it's for the right reasons, not for attention, not for drama, but because there's a real issue that needs to be addressed.
Caitlin Clark has nothing to do with it. Blaming her fans for people following you home or, these alleged death threats. Caitlin Clark has nothing to do with that. You've made yourself a target. It's no different, Steve, than me saying, man, look at these negative comments I get on Twitter. It's Deion Sanders fans. No, it's not Deion Sanders fans. It's Jason Whitlock critics.
So where does this leave us? On one side, we have Reese's allegations. On the other, we have fans questioning her credibility based on her own social media presence. It's a complex situation that's making everyone rethink the responsibilities that come with being a public figure in sports.
I have bold and provocative opinions, and so people get bold and talk smack on me. It's what I've chosen. It's the life I've chosen. And so for her, it's not Deion Sanders' fault. It's not Stephen A. Smith's fault. It's none of these. It's my fault. And I'm willing to deal with it. And, I know she's just 22, but she's just dragging Caitlin Clark. This, to me, is the worst thing she's done to Caitlin Clark. And it's bad.
You might think you know who the real star of women's basketball is right now. But the numbers tell a different story. Did you hear about the million-plus viewers tuning in to watch one player? Spoiler alert, it's not who you think.
Your thoughts?
People say rebounding is Angel Reese's greatest skill. No, it's not. It's victimhood. And as you mentioned, Jason, nobody has sexualized Angel Reese quite like Angel Reese. And so let's take her at face value for what she said about her family members. You're telling me your family members, if they really cared about you, wouldn't have told you 9 months ago, like, Angel, put on some damn clothes. She literally does a runway walk based on what she's wearing before every game. What did you think was going to happen?
While everyone has been focused on Reese's claims, Caitlin Clark has been quietly changing the game. Check this out. Clark's games are drawing in over 1 million viewers. That's not just impressive, it's groundbreaking. We're talking about a player who isn't just playing basketball. She's reshaping the entire landscape of women's sports.
The other thing is, if there are death threats and threats of violence, I have a hard time believing that this would not have been reported and blown up into a story. I wonder, are there police reports? Is there a logging of this? Or again, is this her version of the graffiti on LeBron James's property? Remember that? I mean, much was made out of it, but one thing we never saw? Evidence. Evidence matters, because if there is evidence, let's root this out.
Let's break down the numbers. Clark's average game attendance is 15,300, while Reese is bringing in around 10,200. That's a significant gap, right? But it's not just about the butts in seats. Since Clark joined the WNBA, viewership has skyrocketed by 180%. Can you believe it? 180%. That's not a typo. That's a revolution.
The average Angel Reese game is 10,100, 10,200 they come to watch her. You know what the average attendance is when Caitlin Clark plays home or the road?
What?
15,300.
Wow.
Okay? 15,300. Look at this. Caitlin Clark gets 15,591 fans in attendance, 105% increase compared to the average game is 76.45. And to Angel Reese, it's only 10,000 people. This is WNBA is paying Caitlin Clark $28 million. Good for freaking you.
You might be wondering what this means for their rivalry. It's no longer just about who's better on the court. It's about who's drawing more attention to the game, inspiring more fans, and shaping the future of women's basketball. Speaking of the future, did you hear about Clark's Nike deal? She just signed for about $3 million a year. That's not just a paycheck, it's a statement. Nike is declaring that she is the face of women's basketball, and they're making a big bet on Clark. From what we're seeing, it looks like a smart investment.
But there are also just lunatic fans when you're in the spotlight, and it's like, hey, they want the attention in the WNBA, but they don't want the bad stuff that comes along with it. Because trust me, NBA players get stalked, get harassed, and I never saw, Isaiah Thomas never got someone, man, these Michael Jordan fans are the reason why people don't like me. It doesn't, these ladies got to grow up. They want the attention. There are things that go along with the attention that are unpleasant.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Some people are speculating that Clark's success might be fueling Reese's accusations. Think about it. When you're at the top, everyone is gunning for you. Right now, Clark isn't just at the top. She's redefining what the top looks like. You might be wondering what this all means for the WNBA. Well, it means everything. Clark isn't just playing basketball. She's changing the game. She's attracting new fans, setting new records, and making people care about women's basketball in ways they never have before.
The social media is a whole nother obligation and a whole nother business onto just being a performer. Much like Angel is a performer on the basketball court, there is an onus and a responsibility that these athletes or entertainers have to their brands.
And that's got some people feeling nervous because when you change the game, you change the rules. You shift who's on top, and you transform everything. Change can be a double-edged sword. While the WNBA has been riding high on increased viewership, a storm is brewing. How serious is it? Some fans are even talking about boycotts. The league's response to this controversy could make or break its future. Are you ready to see just how deep this rabbit hole goes?
She doesn't have to do a podcast. And when you get into podcasts and long form talking, you're going to tend to say and do things. I do think there is a responsibility on the 2024 athlete or entertainer with social media that makes it very difficult, and being young, knowing where and when to maybe speak out. With some more experience and a little more time, maybe she wouldn't take some of those lanes. But I do think that there's a real responsibility that athletes and entertainers have to navigate the responsibility of social media and what comes along with it. And she's still very young.
The WNBA is in a tough spot right now. Fans aren't just upset, they're demanding answers. We're not talking about minor issues here. We're dealing with players' safety, integrity, and even complex race and gender dynamics. These are significant problems that the league can't ignore. But here's where it gets really serious. Some fans are so angry that they're considering boycotting games. Can you imagine? The very people who have supported the league are now thinking about turning their backs on it. That's how monumental this controversy has become.
Yeah, the most unsurprising thing I'm going to say on this segment is that Jason and Butters, guess what? I have not subscribed to that podcast. No. Probably won't either.
It's actually worth paying attention because she's going to say a lot of silly things.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, but hasn't the WNBA been doing well? And you'd be right. The league's regular season viewership is up 20% in 2023. That's huge. But here's the catch. All that progress could vanish in an instant if they don't handle this situation correctly. So, what should the league do? They need to respond, and fast. But it's not just about making a statement. It's about taking real action. They need to demonstrate to fans that they're serious about addressing these issues. Because if they don't, well, let's just say the consequences could be dire.
See, now it's like I didn't take her seriously before. Now I really don't take her seriously at all.
Yeah, she needs some help, and she's not going to get it because people are going to pander to her and tell her what she wants to hear. No one wants to tell a woman the truth, and particularly one that's anywhere near above a 5 on the attractiveness scale, because everybody wants to keep their options open. But good luck with it, Angel Reese.
This isn't just about Reese and Clark anymore. It's about the future of women's basketball, and right now, that future is hanging in the balance. The WNBA has a chance to step up and show what it's made of, but if they drop the ball, they could lose more than just a few fans. This controversy has united fans in a way we've never seen before. They're calling for more transparency, better protection for players, and they're not backing down. It's like the entire WNBA community has come together to say, enough is enough.
What is Angel Reese doing on the 50 most influential people in sports figures? Are you kidding me? A woman that rebounds and shows up half naked to games?
This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's reflecting broader issues in society. How the WNBA handles this situation could set a precedent for how sports leagues address complex social issues. That's why everyone is watching so closely.
Start with the Sports Illustrated cover and wait till have you looked at this, Steve? The list, and they got about 9 black women on this force. Flajay Johnson, some basketball player that raps at LSU, is one of the 50 most influential people in sports. Cut it out and help me out here while I.
So what happens next? Well, that's the million-dollar question. The WNBA is at a crossroads. They can either rise to the challenge and emerge stronger or stumble and lose all the momentum they've built over the years. One thing's for sure, the league can't afford to stay silent. Fans are waiting, watching, and they won't settle for empty promises. They want real change, and they want it now.
You know what I'm going to start calling Caitlin Clark? Kunta Kinte. Because you got a bunch of colonizers hopping on her back, hopping on her shoulders, riding her. Caitlin Clark is the slave that's building the WNBA, and all these black women are climbing all over top of her and piggybacking her to relevance and money. She's Kunta Kinte.
So where do we go from here? We've seen the accusations, the fan backlash, and the significant impact on the WNBA. This isn't just about Reese and Clark anymore. This situation has pushed the league to a breaking point. Fans are demanding real change. They want fairness, safety, and integrity in the game they love, and they're not backing down. Some are even discussing boycotts if things don't improve.
This ain't new. We want to act like it's new. We want to act like we're this race-less society, that people ain't thinking about that. Most decent, God-fearing, loving people ain't thinking like that. But there's quite enough people who are far from that, who live on that kind of vitriol and hatred. And some of them, not most, not all, some of them have been Caitlin Clark fans coming at Angel Reese.
The WNBA is at a crossroads. How they handle this could make or break the future of women's basketball. It's not just about sports anymore. It's about bigger issues in society. As fans, we've got a choice to make. Do we let this drama define the league, or do we push for something better? The ball's in our court now. What do you think needs to happen next? And if you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share Hoop Chronicles for more insights on the game.